So the first thing we're going to talk about is prospecting and pre-qualifying new students, prospective students, which is where the word prospecting comes from, is finding prospective students or prospects and getting them interested in your flight school. So prospecting means that first contact that you make when someone walks in the door or gets on the phone or comes in for a barbecue or something else. Now, your objective when you're prospecting is to help people feel comfortable at your flight school and feel like this is a place where they belong, where they're accepted, where they're going to have a good time. So you want to start a friendly conversation to break the ice. You don't want to start out with a big explanation about the flight school program or the school until you know more about them. Most of us love to talk about ourselves. So if you start with a question about them, so what do you do for a living? Where do you live? Are you going to school? What are you studying? Things like that. And then we decide on a next step for that person that's depends on their particular wants and needs, instead of just giving them the standard spiel every time. It's a mistake that a lot of new salespeople make, is to get into things too quickly with someone and to just overload them with information. So the first thing you want to do is help people feel comfortable. You want to be friendly to everyone, whether they seem like a good prospect or not. You never know. A person who's 10 years old might get his dad interested in learning to fly. So even if someone doesn't seem like a good prospect, you want to be friendly and include and make everyone feel like they're included and welcome. When you're doing a barbecue or a cookout or something like that at your flight school, that's a really great opportunity to get to know people kind of socially first before you start talking about the program, and let the questions come up kind of naturally. So starting a friendly conversation, some of us have trouble with this. We don't really know what to say when we first meet someone. So it's sometimes easiest to start a conversation with a question. Show interest in them. Maybe they're wearing interesting shoes, or something that's a t-shirt that has an interesting saying on it. One thing that's really helpful to remember is this acronym, FORM. These are usually good questions to ask people. Ask them about their family, about their occupation, about their recreation. Some people have a mission, and you can tell, if they're wearing a Humane Society t-shirt or something like that, that they're really involved in a particular cause or what we call a mission. So that acronym sometimes easy to remember. Next time you get stuck and don't know what to talk to somebody about, just go through your head and think, should I ask this person about their family or their occupation or what they do for fun, their recreation or mission? So that's a good acronym to remember. And those conversations often start with something that's really friendly, and then go into more detail, and then naturally lead to questions about the flight school. And it's best if it's initiated from their end once you know a little bit more about them, so that you can really be customized in your presentation. So you find out about their interests and their reasons. If they express an interest in flight training, obviously they came in the door for a reason. They'll eventually get around to telling you what that is. And you want to find out, are they interested in a flying career, or are they interested in flying for recreation? And those two different motives have kind of a different way that you go about selling them on the program. And you tell them about the parts of the program that are the most interesting to them, depending on their reasons. Their reasons become your selling points. Then you want to decide on a next step with this customer. Ask them, what's your next step in learning to fly? And this is after you've had a pretty good conversation and answered their questions. And if you have a lull in the conversation, just ask them, what's your next step, or what are your plans? Would you like to learn to fly? And then they will usually tell you, oh, well, I'd love to, but here are my problems with that. I want to find out about financial aid, or I have to clear up my schedule, or I need to find out if you're open on Saturdays, and those kinds of things. So you help them take that next step depending on what that is. And it happens really naturally, and it's really not as difficult as when you're trying to sell someone. This is a deliberate way of selling that's a lot easier on you and a lot easier on the prospect as well. So you can really help people. You think of it as helping people get to their objectives of flying, rather than getting your objectives done, which is selling a lot of classes. So you help them achieve their objectives, and your objectives become a matter of course.